You are about to receive messages that may be harmful to your mental state. Your sense of reality will be questioned. Your view on things will be altered. You are now part of the Meta. The Meta controls everything. The Meta determines what will and will not happen. You are watching The Meta Show.
We're live! Yes, and I have audio.
Success. That's
I
excellent.
did it.
Yay!
I am awesome.
Yes, you are. We have a huge cast of characters today, actually. We've got a bunch of guests. Villy joined us at the last minute. We're always happy to have him on board. We have K-Color, Jay Amazingness, Villy, and Killa B joining us as guests.
Hooray! Lots of guests. All the guests. All the time.
It's I missed last week, unfortunately. I heard that there was a fantastic episode with Death and Boat going head-to-head, which sounds like the start of a bad movie.
No, it was wonderful. He told the history of his time, like when he was in RA and where he went from there, and like old squabbles. And then he just did a lot of talking. It was great. Like that, literally all we did was talk.
On the talk show.
Yeah, we even talked about our adventures at the what do you want to call it? The bathhouse we went to in New York in the middle of Brooklyn, and that was hilarious.
That's a good bathhouse. I've been there.
Yes.
So shout outs also Arinthor. I forgot where the unsub button was. Dejan, what up, dude? John Hartley as well.
Yeah, and
thanks for the
Rock
subs,
Bomb.
guys.
Rock Bomb, thank you. Okay, so today's show is gonna be pretty fun. There's not a lot of news at EVE right now, so we're gonna have a big discussion for our top story. We're gonna talk about like 6 different topics that are all discussionable items. Thanks, Mad Viking, for 14 months. So we're going to talk about that. And then for our Nullsic Power, we're going to make fun of Pandemic Horde. We're going to make fun of people who fly Marshals, because who the fuck flies a 10 billion ISK plus battleship that's limited and rare? Oh, 30 billion now. Oh, yeah. Well,
30 billion? Goddamn.
Yeah, that's the price in Jita for one. Oh, thanks, RDevs. And then we're also going to ask CCP to fix some things in the CCP Please segment. So yeah, we'll jump right to our top story. But first, we're going to introduce our guests. We'll start with the top and work our way down. Mr. Jay Amazingness, hello.
Hello, Bert.
How are you?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
Introduce yourself to the friends who may not know who you are.
My name is Jay. I sometimes lead fleets for Goonswarm. And I've been on this show many times, but never speak much.
Speaking of leading fleets for Goonswarm, did we figure out who is running the capital op today?
Yeah, Janelle is, but he's getting home. He's in traffic.
That's good news.
He just got blessed.
So I guess our next person is K-Color, who just spoke up. Hello, K-Color.
Hello.
Tell the viewers who you are.
I'm K-Color.
No, I mean, like, introduce yourself. Like, what do you do in this game? Because we know what some of the other guests do, but you don't come on very often, so.
I'm on here a lot, actually. I feel like you have a bad memory about...
I have to go around in a circle and say one thing about ourselves that no one else knows.
Favorite color is red.
Good color.
Look, it's exam week in EVE Online, so there's not a lot fucking going on, okay?
These are the charismatic FCs of Goonswarm, as Miss Dang points out. So we have a lot of charisma on display here today.
Yeah.
Goonswarm is the social alliance, as is proven.
Desrith and Shingley just resubscribed. Thank you both. Thank you.
Killa
yeah.
B, why don't you introduce yourself? Show us how it's done.
Hello, I'm Killa B. I'm a fleet commander for the NC Dot, and I lead fleets.
Like the emphasis on NC dot there. It's called
This is going places. I
Yeah.
can see that.
Let's try Billy. Billy, come on, take us home.
Good afternoon. I am Billy, Warden of the South, Sword in the Darkness, Master of the Dinosaurs, a General of the Legacy Armada, and most well known for being a fleet commander of Tesla Alliance. Please ignore.
See, there we go. That's how you
There
introduce
we
yourself.
That's excellent.
So let's move to our top story.
Admiral of the Armada?
Of the Legacy Armada.
Yeah. Not generally. Admiral Billy.
He's got like an entire alliance of furries writing stories for him that he can choose from.
In some militaries, the general is above the admiral. Have you know?
Also known as the army, I guess. Yeah.
Does the army even have an admiral? Isn't that like a navy thing?
It's a navy thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Top story time! As soon as K Color said furries, that was it. That was enough for me. And we start our top story today with a...
That's such a badass intro. I love that.
Yeah, we're gonna start with what the fuck CCP, and we're gonna ask if this is a good or bad thing. But they have announced today, or just recently, I don't know if that was today, 5 days ago. Okay, that they're pushing back the faction citadels they promised to have out by December to summer. So we're gonna have to wait another 6 months before we kill CVA. So
Is that a shock? Is it a shock to anyone?
This is my surprise face. I
didn't
really
they
expected
promise
this
us?
to be would.
Did they promise us that this firing wouldn't affect Eve, and now it's upcoming summer?
I don't think that has
Basically.
anything to do with the firing. I mean, the people who were removed from CCP weren't working on
I
this. This is just. I personally, I never expected this to be on time and on target. Like it's a really major shakeup in the game, and I don't really know exactly what's going on, but it sounds like they sort of had it all hands on deck for getting alpha clones upgraded and getting that out. So that probably pushed back everything else they were doing.
Yeah, it says here in chat a lot of people are seeing them work on Upwell Structures 2.0 rather than pushing the move to Faction Citadels. I can't wait for Faction Citadels. It needs to come faster so I can go conquer Providence because I need something to do. I mean, I'm kind of glad it's not December because I won't be here, but...
Can finally get our supers out of 9.3 PI.
We could always hold out hope there. I don't know whether we could ever actually rescue the Imperium Superfleet, but maybe one day. Now that Killa B is not in PL, maybe Killa B, if we ask nicely, he might let us get our supers out.
No, yeah, NCE owns 9.3 PI, don't they? They'd let us get out. Right, Killer B?
I'm not sure who owns 93 PI, but you can leave whenever you like. It's fine by me.
Is this sort of like a learned helplessness thing? Like the Imperium Superfleet has been trapped in 93 PI for so long that we could have always left, but we just didn't realize that we had to walk through the door.
So this is why they literally announced the reason they're doing the pushback is they're doing the transition for Structures 2.0 in the winter instead of the summer. So
I'm pretty sure they said that at Vegas as well, because I remember like at Vegas before Vegas we basically had the plans to like take a Provi stations to like unanchor them all and make money with it.
Right.
But then Vegas happened, and after that the plans got scrapped. So I'm pretty sure that's when they originally said it. And I think personally, I think it's a good thing because I think those Citadel changes are more important than getting the station, whatever Citadel transition through. Because those Citadel changes, while they don't fix Citadels, they do definitely help them quite a bit. So I'm liking it.
Which Citadel changes do you think are the higher priority? They have fixed, tweaked a few things, but is there something in particular that you think still needs to be done?
So I'm not sure how the Poco mechanics that they're sort of applying to the Citadels is going to work out. So we're going to have to see when that's like in effect, because that basically means you can reinforce it whenever you want, but it's still going to come out in time zone that the Defender set, which I don't know, that really doesn't change all that much.
They said time zone for the Defender for the first one, and then if you reinforce it again, they get to choose the day and the time zone that it comes out.
Okay, so yeah, we'll see if that like helps us at all.
That's the 2.0 they're talking about. Okay, that makes sense.
Right. All the changes to the Citadel reinforcement timers. I mean,
I like the inactivity one. That's a really big one in my opinion.
Yeah, I think the inactivity one is critical because Citadels, being as strong as they are, even when they're unfueled, is ridiculous. From a defensive perspective, I'm a big fan, of course, of never allowing our enemies to ever fight on a weekend against the Imperium, ever. Which is what we do.
I think it's really dumb that Alpha clones can still gun them.
Alpha clones can gun a Citadel?
You can just like park an Alpha clone in that Citadel, and that's its only job in life.
Really? See, I
didn't know that. You can use injectors to get the
skills.
Can they take the specific skills for Citadel gunning? Wow.
Huh?
There's
that-
basically
huh.
Doom already does that. Like Doom Chinchilla has like an
He's
alpha
got his
clone for
fucking
every
ults.
single citadel he owns. He basically has an ult that he literally calls them like the system name Gunner. So for example, for the MTech O Keepstar, this character is called MO Gunner, and then he has like an SK Gunner, and he just has like shit tons of alpha accounts that like are logged off in every single citadel. And
That seems entirely sensible. I mean, that's a good use of game mechanics on his part. I mean, why not?
Yeah.
What other characters does he have so we can write these system names down?
Oh, dude, if you want, dude, you're invited to come and hit Trump's wall. Maybe run Mexico will finally return.
I know
Probably
EX,
just look at
EX6 isn't
YouTube
on
for
that
every
list anymore.
every single gunner named account.
Oh, we
will
have
pop
we have
up.
a new shit drop for you guys in EX6 that you guys can come pick up. You should send your scouts over there and find out.
On our way.
I don't know. See, I don't know. The new system, I like it and I don't, because I think
It was
it's
the longest period of boat quiet I've heard on the show.
it's gonna be ruining things, but we'll talk about that at possibly a later date. So, our next thing here is someone that was relatively inquisitive. There's a couple of new writers from outside of EVE who are trying to write about EVE, and one of the topics that came up was the current capital meta in EVE Online, good, bad, or ugly. And the general consensus from this is that the only people that use shield on their own, like just shield, is try and test. PLNC and that group use purely armor, while goons just have so many that they can use everything. Is that good for the game, that people have to pick and choose based on what they feel is best, or should they be able to do everything like goons do?
People are always going to try to min-max. They're, in addition of shield slaves, really hurts the shield capitals. I know that they keep promising those, but the capital neutralizers that they introduced really hurt shield caps.
How so?
But you can't. Passive tanking a shield ship compared to passive tanking an armor ship is just it's a huge HP difference. People are always going to look at what's best and then go for that. You don't, even battleship fleets and things like that, you're not really going to take certain ships. You just never see them as a doctrine anymore.
You have to fit a cap battery or a cap injector in order to be able to make things up, and that's another mid-slot gone out of your tank. So I don't know. I mean, even if they do add shield slaves, do you think that shield super is going to be viable compared to armor? I'll throw that question to Villy.
Ooh.
Compare in what way? Like, the tank of shield is always going to be better when you've got cap and less when you don't.
It's two different playstyles as well.
Well, they just operate on, I don't want to say different mechanics, but a different kind of baseline. Like, what you plan to do and how you plan to operate is entirely different.
When would you want to have? I mean, let's just say most of the galaxy uses armor caps. I mean, Goodswarm has a preference for armor caps, though we do still have both. What sort of scenarios would actually having shield supers, if you did have shield slaves, what use cases would they be superior to the armor ones in? Why would you?
Anytime you're fighting at range, anytime you're, basically in a situation where you're going to be dropping second is basically the goal of shield supers.
Yeah.
If you're putting your ass on grid, with supers, if you're the first ones and you're going at 0 and you have no control over range or your tactical situation, then armor supers are superior because, that fudge factor is built into armor tanks' passiveness, right? Where if somebody drops on you at 0 with armor supers, you don't have to play with capacitor transfers or anything like that. You just say, okay, whatever, they're on top of me at 0, let's fight.
Yeah.
Whereas with shield, it's harder. Like you have to plan a little more and you have to think about your engagements versus with, armor it's kind of free. Shield has a situation where it has a variety of advantages in certain situations and a variety of disadvantages in other situations. Versus shield where it's very baseline, very average over everything kind of thing. Shields you take disadvantages to gain advantages. That's the goal of shields. Or the way shields work.
Yeah, I just see it as like with shields too, you can put more DPS on them, you know, you can fill the lows with damage mods when you drop at range, and you still have your tank. As long as you're not getting neuted out, you know, you still have your tank. You could still, and you can eventually, you'll just do more damage. Like super carriers, you just triple, quadruple the damage from an Aeon to, like, say, a shield Nyx, shield supremacy. Like, my Nyx is just nasty good, but if it gets neuted out, I mean, it's got like 2 million HP and it just dies.
Well, even that is not as, you know, easy to have happen as, like, part of, like, when we went XWY, we threw on 2 passive hardeners to our supers just to give us an EM and thermal and remove that hole. So if you can turn off our invuln for a second, maybe, sure, but, like, you know, you're not going to have that instant, like, you have 0 resist and you get absolute murder zoned.
I have a question here from one of our subscribers. Norwegian Relic is
Sure.
wants me to ask Killa B, why did you leave PL and join NC Dot? It's your favorite question, I know.
Got that again? Sure.
Yeah.
I decided to take a, you know, get some fresh air, and I figured I'd get the fresh air in NC Dot. So that's all there is to it, basically. Obviously a little bit more than that, but I don't want to talk too many
2 weeks
insights.
ago, I think the last time that you were on, you answered the question at length.
Yeah. It's you know, like I said last time, it's difficult to answer. It was not a very easy decision. I have like almost $100 worth of PL swag at my home. You know, like I have a T-shirt. Well, it's probably not $100, but like maybe 50. It's like a T-shirt. I have a pin. I have a lanyard. Like I even have sunglasses and stuff like that. I really enjoyed myself in PL, but I stopped enjoying myself in PL, and I wanted to try something new, and that's what I did. And I'm actually really happy in NC Dot, like really happy.
Are you really happy? Or, I mean, when people say that they're like actually happy or like frankly or with all due respect, usually it means the opposite of that. Like,
no, the people, so there obviously a lot of people asked me, and a lot of people said, oh, you just went to NC Dot because NC Dot can field more numbers and stuff like that. But it's also something with the attitude, and I think that my personal, like my playstyle has sort of shifted from when PL recruited me back in 2015 to like today. My personal playstyle has changed a lot, and I think that the playstyle now fits better with NC Dot than it does with PL.
what do you mean, like, in terms of playstyle? Like, what's the difference? I mean, from an outside perspective, from a good sort perspective, PL and NC Dot kind of look the same. So, like, what is the difference in playstyle?
Vince and I have very similar opinions in terms of EVE politics, and I get along with, like, I can get behind his goals a lot. Like, it's very easy for me to get behind his goals, whereas it's tougher for me to accept a position where I'm not able to participate in the fights I want to participate in. Let's put it that way.
Sounds complicated.
Yeah.
Is that dealing with, like, PL's command structure kind of thing?
A little bit sometimes, but I mean, I was pretty independent on what I could do in PL. I could basically do whatever I want. But the fact that, like, there's lots of older people in PL, there's lots of people that have seen it all, done it all. It's very hard to convince. It's very challenging to convince people in PL to join your fleets and make sure, like, basically, if you just ping, hey guys, let's take out a Macario fleet because we can take this fight, or we can get an awesome brawl or something. That doesn't seem enough, because, you know, it's for the average PL member that has played for, like, I don't know how many years. It's like, oh, just another Macario brawl. Whereas in NC Dot, you know, the other day I farmed Jackdaws with NC Dot to go to the Keepstar timer in KZ9, and I honestly thought when I pinged for Jackdaws in NC I would get, like, way less people than when I pinged for, like, Macarios or Rocks or something, but I got the exact same amount of people. I still had 150 people, 200 people in fleet, 100 and something Jackdaws, which is something I would have never been able to do in PL just because the attitude is different. It's like, no, I'm not going to fly Jackdaws, right? Because it's just a destroyer or something like that. And it's really refreshing to have this, like, this you know, these people around that are just hungry for content, and no matter what size of ships we fly, no matter what the content might be, it's really enjoyable. So
they're less, like, entitled, basically.
Yeah, I don't know if we would call it entitled. Maybe, yeah. I don't know. It's easier to make the NC Dot member happy than it is to make the PL member happy as an FC, and it's very relaxing for me to not have to think about everything for like 2 hours if this is gonna satisfy the member base or anything. I just take a fleet out, I have a good time, and usually the fleet has a good time, and it's just very nice.
That's an
All right.
interesting way to look at it.
That's a good set of answers. You got a question? What's that?
How does NC Dot deal with cherry picking?
Oh yeah, this serious question though. Seriously,
Yeah.
we had this
It's
discussion.
not a
earlier.
problem because they rent the systems, right?
Exactly. So it's a bit, like I said the other show like 2 weeks ago. The way the system owning in NC works the exact same way as it works in PL, where basically the members rent the systems, and in that case they make their own rules. So for example, now I joined NC. I'm in Shiva, and I asked the Shiva dudes, hey guys, do we want to take a system together? We basically decided to do that, and there's just a very nice spirit within the corporation, so there is no cherry picking. Basically, we decide that, obviously you guys will know there's Mercoxid in these nasty colossals that is really annoying. So basically our rule is that the people that bring a Mercoxid miner, they get to mine the Arcanor and the Bistot, and like everybody else can mine everything else, right? And if you bring a Mercoxid miner, you can cherry pick whatever you want. If you don't, then you just mine the Nice and the Spodumane and the Croc, whatever.
Ooh,
That's how we deal with it. At least
that's an interesting way. So it's limited. Like they can only do so much if they're not going to be willing to grab
Exactly.
the Mercoxid.
Exactly.
That's a
So
great
Mercoxid
way.
mining gives you a license to cherry pick, essentially.
Yeah, basically, because that's sort of a community thing. Like you help, because the thing is not going to despawn if you don't mine the Mercoxid, right? You have to mine it. So if you are willing to put another character on field that cannot do a Rorqual, because you can't mine the Mercoxid and a Rorqual, you have to do it in like a Machinor and a Hulk. Basically, you have to create a new character for that. If you're willing to make that sacrifice, then you get to cherry pick.
How do you enforce that? Some people are asking this.
Oh, we don't have to enforce. Like I said, this is just for Shiva, and we don't have to enforce it because people just don't like cherry pick if they're not Mercoxid mining, because it's a corp thing.
that makes
we like
sense.
each other.
That is one of the things that when you're dealing with policy, we had a big discussion about cherry picking today, and a lot of things do work in terms of peer pressure, just knowing each other at like the corp level that don't work at an alliance level where you need to have like institutions basically. Huh.
That's a great universal way to do that. Like I didn't even think about talking about mining today on the show, but thanks, Kate Keller. Because I mean, if you think about it, it's like the difference between a trial account and a full account, right? If you're on a trial account, you can only do certain things in games, and if you're on a full account, you can do everything. So the Mercoxid miner is like the full account, right? You have the permission to do whatever you want because you're willing to Mercoxid mine. And since you don't have a Mercoxid miner, well, you can only do this, this, and this. I like that.
Our new problem solving is outsourcing all our issues to other alliances.
That's why we have a spy organization, right? Hey guys, how do you do this? What are your best practices?
You mean the meta show?
That too.
All right, so moving on. So that was a great way to flow there. This question came up, and I thought this was an interesting question, and I like the panel we have here to ask this question too, especially Jay. The question is, which alliance died after the Casino War that you regret dying? We'll start with Jay.
Now, after you say Casino, what does it mean? Like any alliance, or like
Yeah, any alliance
just
that's
the
died
ones
pretty much in the last
Imperium?
year and a half. Like, who do you
Probably
regret?
living, breathing fuel blocks because they had the best logo.
Wait,
But that's not really what you asked.
I want to see the logo now. I don't know.
I was the little
Damn.
like fuel block
it's a
guy.
little
that was
anime.
really-
Think Twizzle Spark anime.
Gotcha.
I ain't a weeb, but just to let you know, I'm not a weeb. I'm like a
No, I'm not
about
saying
that.
you. I'm just saying.
bad to say.
That's all right. I had a
Um,
student define what that was to me this week. What a weeaboo was. I laughed very hard.
Alright, so I don't really regret any alliances dying. They're all pretty like if an alliance dies, then there's something wrong with them that can't really be solved. Anytime an alliance dies, we just get more people, so I don't really care.
All right, Mr. K Color.
That I regret dying?
Yeah.
Probably Pandemic Legion.
Oh!
Okay, so tell me why.
They're fun to fight at some points. No, I don't actually know. I don't really know who's died that I would regret it. If you asked, or when you move on to the point where you ask about who we're happy about dying, I can answer that point. But
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
Jay, let's go back real quick. Jay, tell me who you're happy to die.
Because like, who would be unhappy about dying? Like, this is the
Right.
question that's like the general
So let's
Reddit
change it.
population.
Yeah, let's change it to who
I'm
do
always
you want
happy
to
when
die?
these fucking people die. So yeah.
Okay, who's your favorite death since the war?
Oh, that's a tough one. It's got to be a mix between either SMA or AFCON. SMA caused so many problems for us, just like not listening. But satisfaction of AFCON dying was too much. Like
Yeah,
I had like it's too good. CO2 also another close second. That was pretty fun. The whole judge thing that happened.
Okay. Mr. K Color.
yeah, definitely CO2, especially after they tried to stab me in the back. Come at the king, you best not miss, I think is the quote.
All right, Killer B.
Probably FCON. I really disliked their way of like playing. They were such cowards, and like, dude, the rumors that these guys spread or these guys like came up with, they were so tinfoily, and it was always just, it just triggered me so much when I heard the latest lead intel that they got that was totally pointing towards a PL invasion of their new founded space, and like how we wanted to plot to kill their Keepstar and all that. And yeah, so I'm really happy they're gone.
Okay, Mr. Mittens.
Let's hear Billy first, then I'll go.
Okay.
Sorry, what are we talking about? I'm trying to lead a fleet.
Who's your favorite death since the war?
Try not to lose any
Favorite
dreads.
death.
Yeah,
Alliance.
which alliance died since the last war that really
Which
made
is the
you
last
happy?
war we're talking about?
The Casino War.
Casino War.
I don't know. Not that many alliances really died. It was like CO2 and FCON. That's like it.
So you like CO2 and FCON died? That's good news.
The culture's dead too.
I heard they.
I don't know, man. Culture seems like they're doing more now than they ever were before.
Yeah. That's
Are they
just-
recovering?
Even if they're like 1/10 the size.
Yeah.
That's good.
So
Take away the
sort of-
crab space, and then people that are worthless just leave.
Take away the crap space. Wow.
Yeah, you
True.
take away the crab space, the worthless people leaves, and the alliance actually becomes
Okay.
better.
Interesting. Mr. Mittens. Let's see what we got.
Oh, let's see. I mean, CO2 is the obvious one, right? I mean, everybody's going to be happy about that. But really, like, it's sort of a biased answer from any of the Good Sword perspectives, I think, because, we've got this big list, right, of everyone who participated in the Casino War eventually has got to pay. And it's just a matter of where you are on that list, moved up or down. So clearly getting rid of the traitors is good. I mean, you got rid of the traitors with CO2. You got rid of the cowards, FCON, who jumped ship. Everybody who wasn't a coward in FCON, when FCON uprooted and left the Casino War, joined Goonswarm and helped forge the Goonhammer. So
Right.
all of the good people who were in FCON joined Goonswarm, and everybody who stayed with FCON ended up being part of the kind of weird conspiracy theorist fence sitters. So yeah, that's basically it. But alliances die all the time, and it's just for us. It's a matter of just going through that list and just crossing off names.
Yeah. See, my favorite was Tissue. Like seeing them get hundreds, if not trillions, of ISK, throw them at their leadership, which was Supers and Titans, and then as soon as the war ended, they dissolve and immediately join PL with all those Supers and Titans, and their line members got fucked. Like anyone that fought for Tissue was just obliterated. That was my favorite.
Lex Arson is
So
he's a piece of
toxic.
garbage, and he was
Yeah.
making Benghazi jokes on Twitter. It's funny because he tried to delete his EVA Online affiliated Twitter account just to try to bury all that stuff.
But there's a thing called a Wayback Machine that lets you see everything that he posted ever.
Caleb's asking a question here in chat, which is, so who's left on the list of the Imperium's grudges? And it's pretty much
I think that's it, right?
everybody in EVE. Everyone who participated in the Casino War against us and isn't dead yet is still on that list. It's just a matter of figuring out where they go. So NC.PL Test is on the list, but they're lower on the list than NC and PL for obvious reasons.
Maybe they're the lowest on the list at the moment due to working together and all that. But here's the thing: The
Where's
interesting,
this is Goodstorm? Goodstorm's number 1. On
the
random
interesting
list.
thing, a lot of people don't think of this, but every single person that was blue to us, every group that was blue to us, that left us when that war ended. So when we said, okay, war's over, we're done fighting, we're going to Delve, they all died. EXE, SMA, FCON, all of them.
Is did Razor like resurrect as like a renter entity? I saw like Razor popped up somewhere.
They live in the drones, and as Death put it last week, they are valued alliances. They are corporation leaders. We talked about FCON last week. See, here's an interesting caveat. We talked about FCON, and we talked about democracy. What is this word? What is democracy? I don't know this word. And then we talked about, like, do you have renters or do you have allies? And he talked about how it's structured like a corporation. So they're all corporate entities within the whole of the DRF. So yeah, technically they're renters. Long story short. Who's Infamous? I never heard of them. So yeah, that's who died.
In their name.
Yeah, they're all dead.
What's the fucking corp that lived in Catch?
So here's a list of deaths. So Razor is nothing like it was, so they're gone. TC is nothing like it was. They're pretty much dead. Snuff and Shadow Cartel are all but dead. Snuff has now rebranded itself away from...
Stuff's
Stuff's
not dead.
The original Snuff is dead. They remade their alliance into... they merged 2 alliances together. So it's different. They're blue to us now. Shadow Cartel is a shell. Dead Terrorist died. Tissue died. EE died. They were the ones that spawned up when we went to Delve. They put down a keep star that they owned. Quotation marks. And then Waffles. Waffles died.
Yeah, guys are pointing out here that Executive Outcomes didn't leave during the war. Basically,
they left when the war was over.
They merged into Goodstorm.
Oh, I thought they just like went on their way and like just slowly died because someone asked
They functionally merged into Goodstorm. Like 90% of the people who are active in Executive Outcomes are in Goons now.
Yeah, I haven't seen Mo Chisel in a while. That's why the question came up. So then our next topic for discussion. This kind of pissed me off, but I guess I could see maybe a lawyer can explain to me why they would do this. But last couple weeks now, we've been talking about this great mod. It's free-to-play mod. This community went and took a whole bunch of like 4X games. So like I think it was Sins of a Solar Empire and like 2 other games, EU4 and something else.
Stellaris, probably.
Stellaris, and made great EVE mods that really like pushed EVE into another game for free. They were free to give away, allowed people to have multiplayer matches. Then just a couple days ago, Mr. Falcon comes along and says, "Look, you gotta stop, cease and desist. You gotta take the mod down. You can't use the IP. You have no permission to use the IP." So I'm curious as to what you guys think. Is this a good thing that CCP came along and just gave him the hammer, or could they have just said, "Okay, pay us $1 and we'll let you license it for free, and here you go, it's great, awesome, high five." What do you think?
So this reminds me a little bit of when Blizzard came and nuked all the classic WoW private servers.
Right.
Because they but here's the thing. I had faith in Blizzard because there was rumors on day 1 when that private server got nuked, the big one. I can't remember the name, Nostralgius or something. Basically, the team of that server said, "Hey, but we are now in talks with Blizzard," and now like a year later, 1.5 years later, we got the official announcement that Blizzard is working on Classic WoW. And they have some of those people that worked on a private server before they have in their team now, helping them with it. That's great, right? If that would happen. So if CCP would nuke them, and then maybe take their ideas and put mods out, but we all know CCP, that's probably not going to happen. And in that case, I just don't understand why, because like those mods were actually really fun to play, and it was great for EVE because it kind of, people that maybe never played EVE before, but like space games like Stellaris or Sins, they went through the mod thing on Steam and they found the EVE mod and they played it and they were like, "Man, maybe I should check out EVE." And like, obviously it's going to be only very few people, right? But still, like, it was just fun to play. I don't see a reason for them to shut it down.
The comments said that the reason they had to shut it down was for legal reasons. So if they ever have their IP get stolen, it's a lot harder to say in court, "Hey, this guy stole the property," when they allow people to do it for free anyways. So that was some of the concerns there. But I'm curious, Mitten, you're a lawyer, you might know this. What in the world, why would they just shut it down?
that's what you do when you have intellectual property. Like, this is a thing that that's just how it is. If people take your IP, you defend that IP. Otherwise, it's hard to demonstrate that it is your IP. If you aren't if you get a copyright or you get a trademark, particularly in the United States, you have to file a mark with the USPTO. Intellectual property isn't like just some sort of fancy fuzzy kind of thing that you could just be like, oh, I'll let people do this, I'll let people do that. I mean, lawyers will try to make things look nice because the public always has a backlash against this kind of thing. People want to play with the intellectual property toys and then get mad when the lawyers come and say, no, you can't do that. Like when Netflix had to do a takedown of a Stranger Things pop-up restaurant or whatever it was not too long ago. And they tried to send a funny, like, thematic cease and desist letter. But this isn't a matter of discussion. In lawyer land, this is not a matter of discussion. It's not a do you choose to, do you not to. Actually, as an attorney, if you are representing a client and you are shown somebody violating your client's IP, you're obliged. You got a duty to inform your client and do something about it. So, like, as an example, I know a guy who's a general counsel for a very large gaming company, and the topics of their products are often made into memes or off-brand stuffed animals, or it turns up into like a little joke here and there in a product or merchandise that's off-label. And he had to post on Facebook like, look guys, I realize that I am so-and-so's lawyer, but every time you send me a funny post or a funny instance of somebody using the image of our icon on a joke or a meme or a brand thing or anything that is not an officially licensed product, I have to stop what I'm doing and fill out a shitload of forms and inform my client and then sick the lawyers on them because I'm legally obliged to do so. So please, if you have a funny joke about my company, don't show it to me unless you want me to have to do all this stuff, because I don't have a choice in the matter. So that's just how it works in some areas in the United States. Every locality is different. But I am not surprised at all about either CCP sending a C&D. I'm surprised that it took them that long, one. And on the other hand, I'm not surprised at all that Reddit is butt blasted about it and upvoted a whole bunch of things about, oh, you're being bad to the community or whatever.
Yeah, I played the game. It was a lot of fun. I played it with a bunch of goons. They've had this out for years and years, and I always hoped that CCP would just be like, okay, we'll license it to you just long as you don't mess up. Because it does a really good service to EVE, right? It allows you to simulate huge battles, and it gets people interested in EVE. I thought it'd be a great way to pull people in EVE, because they always do the mod, free and all that. But I was just interested, because I saw this thread, and I'm like, why would people be so angry about this? Of course they're going to take it down, but that's a great way to put it. Yeah. So, and then finally, on our top story here, we have a huge fight going to go down. And when I say huge, it has been hyped every day by about 10 or 11 different entities for the final timer on a Keepstar that is belonging to Solar. It's Solar's staging Keepstar. They've had it since they first dropped the Keepstar. All their stuff's there. X-Death and the DRF just recently moved into that Keepstar. Its final timer is Monday, right? It happens Monday, period. So the question is, who wins? Is Solar going to defend it, or is all of EVE going to blow it up?
Battle of the Bat Phones.
Battle of the Bat Phones. All right, Jay, what do you mean?
Oh, sorry. I mean, no one's going to show up because everyone's going to third party, as everyone says.
Yeah, I won't be here. I'll be on Miami Beach. So
probably realistically, Tri is going to kill it because there's no way you can really stop someone from attacking Keepstar.
Okay.
But I don't know. DRF.
They've had a while, or like on Monday.
No, it's impossible to stop someone from killing a Keepstar. No matter how many dudes you have on grid, you can always have one or two dudes shooting it, and that will slowly tick down, like we did it before.
Oh, okay. So,
the question is, how costly will it be?
Yeah.
To kill it?
Yeah.
So you mean like when Death and them killed the Keepstar that got dropped in their space, MTO, when they spent like 200 billion dreads trying to kill the damn thing. They eventually killed it.
I think I think it'll be more for Try on this one. If a fight goes down, right? It's always about like if it goes down. Like on the second time out, except the DRF was formed up pretty big, and some other people, you know, showed up and nothing happened. Try just set their entire fleet there, sort of set up and just shot the Keepstar. Then XF jumped in all their supers on the Keepstar 0 and realized that the enemies is like 470 km off and they can't shoot that far, and then like they docked them up or something and like left. Like if that, you know, changes on the final time, I'm sure there might something. I'm very cautious to like guarantee somebody a fight there, because it could always be one side just, you know, chickening out. And you know, seeing that GOTG pieced out and kind of swapped sides on this one, you know, Try might actually be outblocked pretty hard.
That hasn't been announced yet, Killer. That hasn't been announced.
Oh, Killer B, hold on a second. You're dropping something I had never heard of before. So please tell us this leak.
It's not really that big of a leak. It's
What
just
leak?
that so for the last Keepstar timer on Tuesday, when the first reinforcement came through,
Right?
there was a GOTG fleet there, right? There was like 180 confessors or something.
Yeah, I saw that.
And they were sitting with the Try fleet, so they obviously worked with Try on that one, because they were literally sitting inside the super cap blob of Try and they didn't get shot. So that was pretty obvious. But after that timer was gone, well, there's some ties have been cut. And apparently, those are just rumors. I don't have any I don't have anything solid. On
Rumors
this
are good
either,
on this show. I like it. Go ahead.
Yeah, but basically, Sword and all SFCs left a coordination channel that we were all part of, right? Like that sort of anti whatever.
Totally not blue. Totally not blue.
Yeah, this is
so that he dropped that with his FCs and without too much of a comment, and he just left it. And you know, obviously, me being me, I asked him, "Yo, what's up?" And he's like, "Oh no." But basically, it seems like there has been some sort of deal struck. I don't know if there's money involved. I'm not sure if GOTG is now going to show up to defend the Keepstar.
Okay.
But I'm fairly certain they're not going to show up to shoot it. If they're actually like defending it as well, we'll see. But yeah, I mean, things are pointing the way that GOTG might be prepping to actually defend it. Maybe there was some money involved. We'll find out, or maybe we won't find out.
That's an interesting thing. That's news to me. I did not hear about this.
I would
new
be
development.
completely shocked if Sword Dragon just about faced and stabbed someone else in the back. That's completely out of character for him, and has never happened before.
He would never do that. Sword Dragon? Wow.
Well,
I would also be shocked.
Yeah, I would be extremely shocked if he ever did that. Like, I don't.
But I mean, so that's what I'm saying. Like, the odds are slowly like turning away from like. So far, Try always had the huge favor of having a gigantic super like cap force and cap force on grid, obviously. But they also had support from so many other alliances. You know, FRT, for example, is a big one, and Lumpy helps them out, and some other alliances.
NC Dot.
We actually, like, we went to the other time, but we were just camping a gate where we actually only show up. We're not going to shoot XIX on something like that. We're not going to shoot Sola either, but we're going to
but you're going to shoot us,
Exactly,
which is
we're gonna
you know,
shoot
effectively
tests.
shooting Solar.
Yeah, we're shooting tests, so that's basically the only one we're shooting on that grid. But yeah, I mean, we'll see who commits what forces, right? If GOTG now shows up on the other side, but is just bringing confessors again, I don't think it's that big of a deal. But if GOTG, for example, actually moves like a real fleet of battleships or something, that's a bigger deal. Then it also depends if Test, you know, commits capital forces, what other sort of groups involve themselves, and obviously the final, like, the actual decision will have to be made by the Russians, by the DRF, if they're actually going to jump in, commit, and then start brawling with Try. And that's the big random factor.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone will commit without them committing first. So yeah,
I'm interested. So okay, so say that, you know, Try commits supers and titans, and then DRF commits supers and titans. Then what? You know, what happens next? Does all of Eve.jpg arrive, and everyone pick a side there? I mean, what happens then?
I mean, KZ9 is like if you look up KZ9 on
What's
Dotland,
back
it
there?
is
The fucking jump range nightmare.
yeah, it is god awful to reach. So you can't just get there. You can't just get there easily. If you would want to get there with any major capital forces, that involves pre-staging them, and pre-staging caps usually means somebody knows about it, which makes it difficult to pre-stage stuff without anyone knowing. So I
It's
don't
actually
know,
not
but
that bad to get there from period bases.
yeah, I mean, I don't know what it's looking like for Goonies, obviously, but for us, for example, it's basically, we're not gonna move supers from tribute to fucking
Right. I just
whatever.
when I look at it, at
Let's
the
be honest here.
distance-
It's fucking 8 midpoints for my supers. So like, for his it'd be 25. Like, it's like
Yeah.
I can't move supers there. It's too far. Like,
I even
dude,
I
there's no
even
way
think
they're
it's-
gonna.
Just take gates, dude.
Yeah, even
Come
if you
on.
gate, I mean, we're looking at a couple
Yeah,
of
just
hours
take
to
gates.
gate that. Let's just say it takes a couple hours. On a Keepstar, I don't think gates work because that Doomsday is going to rip things apart, right? You're going to have Keepstars. I don't see a Keepstar fight turning into the thing. So I'm interested. I can't wait.
Keepstar isn't actually that big of a deal. Like the
Yeah.
Doomsday, you can only fire it like 3 or 4 times, and the Keepstar's out of cap, which means you can DD like if you kill 5 or 4 facts with every single Doomsday, right? That would mean you would end up killing like maybe 20 facts tops with the
Right.
Doomsday. Obviously, the guns
Well,
they do hurt a lot.
it
but,
wouldn't even kill. It wouldn't even kill a fax in that case, right? Because if it's DD and like say Titans and Supers, it goes by mass.
Yeah, but
So they'll never even hit the
exactly.
faxes. So I'm
And
just
the
interested. I just like I like the DD because you can headshot, right? Like that X Bob is FC and you just target him, shoot him, he dies along with potentially 10 other things, right? That's where I like it. But I don't know. I'm of the belief that
Well, you can't really headshot because it's mass based, right?
well, no, the first target will. The first target always dies.
Okay, well, it should be noted you're like completely not understanding the way that the Keepstar was attacked and the mechanics of.
Oh no, yeah, I
attack
saw it.
nowadays.
They weren't even on grid. Yeah.
They weren't on
Billy,
range.
please
like-
explain.
Okay, so what you do is that the Keepstar has a central point, right? Like a point where you undock, let's say. And surrounding that Keepstar is about a 200 kilometers of like tether range. So at the very edge of that tether range, at the very, very edge, is the 0 kilometer start point for the range to the Keepstar to shoot it. So the way that B-52 dreads work, which Killa obviously, I think actually we stole it from Killa, or I don't know who in PL
Yeah,
invented it, but, like,
PL invented them. Tappets invented
Yeah.
them, but
Tappets, okay, yeah, like we literally stole it. It's an awesome idea, but like basically it is you use like cruise missile or 290 plus kilometer capitals, and you shoot at that range, and then your facts are past the 300 meter lock range of the Citadel, so they can't be. Nothing can happen to those facts from the Citadel, and then the missiles take so long to get to the target, like it's almost like 3 or 4 minutes. So by the time a dreadnought, is in danger of dying to a Citadel, he's out of siege, he gets reps, he's good. And, they were just doing that with Titans versus the Keepstar instead of Dreads, since, the Dreads would be in range of the Doomsday.
Yeah.
And in this situation, they'll just have the Titan, which, it'll eat a Doomsday and go, okay, a Titan doesn't give a shit about Doomsday, especially a Shield Titan. Like, it's, so, the Doomsday is extremely irrelevant. And if I assume correctly, the majority of this fight will happen on the very, very edge of a Keepstar's effective range,
Right.
where it's guns are effectively useless.
This is where I think CCP has screwed the pooch, and y'all can give your opinion on this. But I really do think CCP fucked up here, is that you can spend 300 bill plus on a Keepstar, 30 bill plus on a Fortizar if you fit it right, and you can't fight back with that structure. Like with POS, back in the day, like if a big fight went down on a POS, that POS has got some teeth to it. It's gunned, it's targeted. It's gonna hurt the things attacking it. If you come at a POS with 50, 60 dreads, obviously you may kill one, but the POS will probably die. But if you come at with just subcaps, that POS is gonna fuck you up. And I don't think Keepstars, especially Keepstars, and Fortizars for sure, have that teeth. They can't defend themselves. I mean, you can come at them with like in this case, where I saw those Confessors, it made me chuckle because those Confessors could have killed that Keepstar on their own. You can't kill Confessors that quickly unless you DD them, and you only kill 10. So I don't think they're strong enough. And I think that's what we're going to see Monday, is while the fight is going on, if there is a fight, on the side, that Keepstar is still going to probably die, even if they win the fight. You know, even if they throw away 400 or 500 bill. I still see that Keepstar dying.
Well, here's what I want to know, and this is sort of an open question here, is let's say, we joked about it before, but there are some implications about this. So, Legion of Death pays off Sword Dragon, Guardians of the Galaxy, to then flip sides and help Legion of Death on this Keepstar battle, right? That sort of opens up Guardians of the Galaxy to be attacked relentlessly by PL and NC Dot. I mean, Killa B, like let's say that Sword Dragon flips and that they come in on the wrong side. They've left the blue troll, totally not blue with each other command channel. What happens to Darkness and Sword Dragon if they flip sides on this Keepstar up?
There's more discords than that one. This one was originally the anti-FCON Discord.
Yeah.
And then there's obviously another one that just involves the people that are in the north, sort of.
Right, but let's just say if Darkness does flip sides.
Okay. On this keeps the timer. Yeah. Absolutely nothing happens, because you got to understand the way, at least for NC. I can't speak for PL anymore, but for NC Dot, the way this is going to go down for us on this timer on Monday is basically nobody on grid is going to shoot us except Test, and maybe Goons if you guys show up and stuff like that, but. We won't fuck with XIX on that fight. They won't fuck with us. Same for Solar and all the XIX allies. And GUTG are still our allies. So they're not going to shoot us, and we're not going to shoot them. And Tri won't shoot us because...
But that's an interesting thing. So, and I don't mean to interrupt, but I know NC Dot's history. I know PL's history here. The honorable third party thing is one thing. But I'm telling you, if Titans and Supers are brawling Titans and Supers, you're going to shoot one of the other side's Supers or Titans. The question is, who?
No one.
But if there's a Titan fight, NC Dot are going to be honorable and only kill the Test fleet.
I just don't.
So why don't NC and Test just not show up?
Yeah. So if NC and Test don't show up, then what? I mean, if Test doesn't show up, then what?
If NC and Test don't show up, then it's gonna be a brawl between XIX and their friends.
Well,
and
that's what I mean. If Test doesn't show up, but say 1,000 goons show up to help at DRF, then what happens?
I would probably still take a fleet. Yeah, but look, like we're staging an all shit right now with NC Dot, right? So the only doctrine I'm taking over there is Jackdaws, because I can't be ours flying 30 fucking jumps with like battleships or anything. So I'm not gonna be there in any significant fleet to begin with. I'm gonna be there in Jackdaws. I'm maybe gonna kill some fighters if there's any fighters for me to shoot. Maybe I'm gonna, like I did last time, I just camped the in-gate that most alliances came in through. I ended up just cutting off Brave and Requiem, whatever they're called. And then on the way home, we dropped on Test a little bit, but we only killed like 5 or 6 heartbeats. But yeah, like this Keepstar timer is too far away for us to put any like substantial forces there. So I'm not gonna be third party. Like I never said I'm an honorable third party, right? But like I'm not gonna be there in anything that anyone cares about. Nobody in a fight like that. Nobody cares about 100 Jackdaws. Not really, anyways.
Well, why go in Jackdaws? I mean, this look.
Because I'm not gonna. If I go in Feroxes, I'm gonna get bombed to death the entire time because of all the random bomber gangs that are gonna be there. And if I go in anything else, it's just gonna be way too cancer to get there. Like getting battleships there or getting like Macarials or rocks there is just.
I'd love to see your rocks there, just hazing Tri from the distance,
I think you should take Ruptures. We've never had an issue with those getting bombed.
Oh, Ruptures, dude. That sounds spicy. Yeah, sure. Let me just build some real quick.
Awesome. I don't know. All right, so Killa B thinks Keepstar still dies. I don't know. What do you think, Mitten? Do you think it still dies, Mr. Mittens?
I really don't know or care about what happens with this particular Keepstar. I mean, I think that Killa B is absolutely wrong about there being no repercussions. Like whenever Sword Dragon has flipped sides and flounces out of a Discord enough for it to be a thing to talk about, to suggest that it's not a thing oh, well, there's lots of other discords. Well, then why did we bring it up in the first place, right? If Sword Dragon flips sides on this because he accepted a payout, there will be a tremendous amount of drama because there's going to be people who are within Guardians of the Galaxy that don't want to be traitors or side flippers. Like, there are going to be people, kind of like what happened with FCON. There's going to be people who are in the line that are not going to respect Sword Dragon's flip-flop. And so there's going to be internal strife if that happens. There will be, essentially, it'll be open season on them. You know, we might not see the effects of it directly for a couple of months, but this is the kind of thing that if it takes place, kind of like with CO2 or FCON, there's no forgive and forget. There's no, oh, that happened a while ago and he just flipped sides and started shooting us and helping the people we were shooting when previously it was on our side. Like, people don't forget that. There are always consequences.
No, it's absolutely true. Like, you have to remember, like, part of the reason, you know, Test, you know, could never truly work with Triumvirate back, you know, at the start of this whole war was because in SH1, Triumvirate showed up on Peel and NC's side. That was a major factor in deciding, you know, how our relations with them were going to work in the future. You know, we like those things, you know, they were like, oh, we were just third party and it doesn't matter, bro. It's like, that's the most significant battle we've had in years, and you showed up on the enemy's side. I am going to treat you as an enemy forever because of that. It is very relevant.
Yeah, that's...
But Triumph never third party to fight in their lives, did? Or
this is just where, like, I see this... I always say this, and when we talk about EVE history, it's always the same. It's not the leadership that gives a fuck, right? We've all been playing this game far too long, and we tend to not really care who flips sides anymore. Like, if Sword flips sides, well, that's common. But it's his line members, right? It's literally the guys who are going, wait a minute, you just told me these guys were the enemy. I had to murder them. Now I'm sucking their dick and helping them. What the fuck is going on here, right? Like, that lingers in the line member mind, right? Like, the average person that's going to show up on your fleets may not come to this fleet this time when GOTG calls for them. Because they're like, wait a minute, why the fuck are we going to defend them? You told us we were hating them. You know? So, I don't know.
We just woke up at 2 a.m. for a month straight to go to timers to kill XCX, and now we're helping defend the Keepstar.
Yeah, no,
it's just from a member-based perspective, it's definitely a weird move. I'm not gonna defend that. Like, I'm not sure why he did it. Like I said, it must be probably big money involved or something. But like, I'm not thinking about the line member perspective on this. Obviously, like you said, yeah, that's some good points. Like, the line members, I'm probably going to feel weird about it if he doesn't sort of delivers a very good response or like a good reason for it.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, these guys have been told in terms of propaganda, which isn't propaganda, it's the truth. But like, let's say that you joined Guardians of the Galaxy within the last year or something like that. I've lost track, but I don't think Sword Dragon has flipped sides within the last year. But you hear all the time, oh, Darkness, Sword Dragon's a side flipper, he's a flip-flopper, he's a traitor, you can't trust him, blah, blah, blah. And then if he does this, there's all these people who are in that coalition that probably had spent all their time going, oh, Sword's not really like that, I know the guy, that's just hostile propaganda. And then if he does this, he's just proven everything that everybody has been saying about him to be correct to his own line. So there'll definitely be a collapse of confidence there if that's true. So, I mean, even if the Keepstar still dies, if Sword flips sides, then this throws the disposition of the North into disarray. Because, I mean, think about it. The biggest military powers that are up, you know, potentially defending the North from, like, oh, I don't know, Goonswarm and friends, would be NC and PL. If ever Darkness and Guardians of the Galaxy up in the Northwest got into trouble, the expectation is that NC and PL would bail them out, and that is the backstop against the vengeance of Goonswarm. But if Sword Dragon backstabs these guys, I kind of doubt that PL and NC are going to keep us from doing bad things. Guardians of the Galaxy.
This could not be a backstab, though, when you think about it in the way that his own little coalition of friends works, right? He's really good friends with Goblins and Pandemic Horde, even though they kill each other every day. But they live next to each other, and Goblins and them have been hyping this pretty much like twice a day for the last week. They are bringing Max, they're bringing Dreads, this is very well known. They're bringing the house. So it could be that Goblins gave him a little nudge, along with the DRF, and said, look, man, just get hired by the DRF and come join us, you know? And then in that case, he wouldn't really be backstabbing the guys he works with every day. And, that, you know, when you think about it that way, he'd just be killing
Sort of
Tri.
casuistry, right? Yeah.
Right. So after that, you know, what does Tri do? Does Tri go, oh, fuck, all right, now they're having GFG here. They were creating us a second front before, now they're not. Now they're working with these guys. Like, where does it go with Tri? That's the question that comes next.
Well, after
And I
we
mean,
come
so-
next for Killaby, you go, and then we're gonna have to.
Yeah, we gotta go.
Okay. I'm just gonna keep it short then. I think, I mean, that you guys are right. Like, they are quote unquote backstabbing, but they're not backstabbing NCPL because they're swapping sort of from helping one friend to helping another friend, right? Like for us, like from my perspective personally, I really don't care about their Keepster all that much because we are bros with XDeath, we are bros with Tri. We're bros with them because we've worked with them a lot recently. I worked with them a lot recently. NC hasn't so much, but when I was still in PL, I worked a lot with Tri, versus FCon and stuff. So to me right now, the way it looks is just, okay, so instead of helping Tri, who are sort of buddies with me, they now help XDeath, who are sort of buddies with me. So to us, it doesn't really matter. For Tri, it's an entirely different thing. You're right on that. For Tri, obviously, this might look like a backstep, but the relation between Tri and GOTG wasn't good to begin with, because if you remember about, like, I don't actually remember when that was, like late or early this year, when Tri did their deployment to Venal, I think it was, and they started harassing GOTG and Branch and stuff. They sort of left off on a bad foot to begin with, because GOTG was still pretty pissed at Tri for trying that, like, sort of invasion of Branch. So I was actually surprised that Sword Dragon showed up to help Tri in the first place. Like, I was surprised by that because I figured there would be bad blood. And that's why I wasn't really too surprised that he, like, did this now, because I was like, all right, well, I figured they didn't really want to help Tri anyways. And now on this, like, important timer, maybe for Sword Dragon, it's a good chance to get as a revenge for what Tri tried to do to him in the North, right? But for us as NC, this move doesn't matter because it doesn't really affect our position in the North at all. Like,
That
Tri
seems like
has
a good explanation. Yeah.
yeah. So that's how I look at it, anyways. But yeah.
Sweet. Well, let's get some shout outs
Yeah, we
before
have
we
a
go,
bunch.
because I saw we've got a bunch of subs. I
Yeah,
saw
I got
that
'em all.
Rishan and Accessible Gamer both give us some props. Alcantar 1981 was unhappy that I didn't wink. I thought I did wink. What do I have to do? They wanted me to wink at the screen.
Yeah, they want you to wake and, like,
You know, sort of like get up there and use my eyeball. And it looks like a Voight Conf test.
yeah, so,
in the link.
Shigley says, yay, Cloud, 14 months. Eric Asimok, 23 months, says, I have nothing witty to say.
The fuck you don't webcam?
I feel like you're about to get your fucking
Identity
license
study.
stolen from a
Yeah.
retinal scan.
Yeah,
You just
exactly.
go for it.
Hagami Ito says, thank you, 20 months. Then we have Poison Furita, 5 months, says money. And then, we're out of time. We gotta go. But yeah, you're gonna get an iPhone 10 and it's gonna get jacked because they just retinal scanned you and made a copy of it. Great, ready to go.
We can get in line.
But yeah,
All right. Well, thank you
Thanks,
so much,
guys.
guys, for coming. We had a really good show today. Actually, it was fascinating to hear, as usual, the perspectives from Villy and Killaby, and Jay.
I literally
and
said
K-Color.
3
They-
sentences. This
like
whole
super
fucking show.
talkative.
But you've
You're more
been
talkative than
FCing,
K-Color.
man. I mean,
Well, K-Color asked the critical cherry picking question, and we're gonna adopt our new cherry picking policy from NC Dot, Mercoxit, or Shivas.
it's a great way to look at it, though.
It's
I
actually
like it.
that's a really savvy corp policy. I'm not sure it would work at alliance level, but we'll find out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're gonna actually have so the Accessible Gamer
Accessible Gamer
Linux
next,
is gonna
yep.
be coming up right after this, and he's gonna be playing some Borderlands 2 if you want to chill out and watch him murder dudes with guns. And
Yeah.
we will be back next week.
Yeah,
we tried
so-
to have the diplomats on. Boat was telling me about this, but unfortunately,
They have,
diplomats gonna diplomat,
college.
and they diplomated their way away from the show.
Responsibilities. No, yeah. So, just so everyone's aware, real quick reminder: I won't be here Monday or Wednesday this week. I will be on Miami Beach, enjoying the sun. And then in 2 weeks' time, I leave for Australia for a month and a half. So, I'll be gone then too. So, no boat. But yeah, bye.
Bye.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for coming.
You are about to receive messages that may be harmful to your mental state. Your sense of reality will be questioned. Your view on things will be altered. You are now part of the meta. The meta controls everything. The meta determines what will and will not happen. You are what